Hello everyone, welcome to video 24 of my Claude series. Today we are going to discuss about self-correction loops. So using Claude, I wrote a refund function. Initially it looked correct. It passes a quick check also. But one edge case, a partial return, it has returned a negative amount in production. So this is the kind of bug that ships if we don't have self-correction loops. Now what I did is I wrote a self correction loop where before running any code in production and even Claude shipping that to you, it will run a particular edge cases which are defined by me, and if those edge cases fail, Claude will correct the code and then again run the edge cases. So this way everything is solved. I don't even get any buggy output in my code. This video is my actual self correction loop. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Let's first understand what is self correction. So self correction is not the same as chain of thought. Chain of thought reasons up front. Claude reasons step by step on the way to the first draft. The thinking happens before the answer exists. Self correction reviews a finished draft. So Claude writes a complete draft first, then evaluates that finished draft against the explicit criteria, then revises it. A second pair of eyes, self correction is not deeper reasoning. So it's a review pass on work that already exists. The same way a second pair of eyes catches things the author has missed. We'll now see the three-step pattern: draft, critique and revise. So draft is where we write the function. So here if we see in the example, in instruction step 1 is the draft. So write the refund calculation function. Then step 2 is the critique, review your own draft against the checklist. For each item answer yes and no and explain. Does it handle this? Does it handle that? And all those stuff. Step 3 is revise. Revise is if any checklist item has failed, rewrite the function to fix it. If all item passed, return the draft unchanged. Return only the final code from step 3 in the final answer tag. So this is a refund function which looks correct and quietly returned a negative amount on a partial edge cases. But if we write prompt like this, it will be adding a critique step against each of the explicit output, and then it will check and eventually the result what you will get is correct. Now there is another method where we split it into calls and honest independent critique. Here what we do is call 1 is draft, call 2 is fresh context, checklist plus draft, no memory of writing it. Call 3 is revise based on the independent critique, which is step 2. It is same pattern, it works for customer copy and JSON schema checks better. So here we see that in call 1 we basically create the draft using the draft prompt. In call 2 we have fresh context, no memory of the previous draft, and here we have the prompt, and then using that critique prompt we create the prompt and get the draft formatted. Now in call 3 is we have a revise prompt where fix this function based on the critique below. If no issues found, return the function unchanged, and function is the draft and critique is the critique, and my final code is what I get as part of this output. Here worth the extra 2 calls when a missed bug is expensive. This critique in step 2 catches an overpromised on refund timing by checking the draft against a fact it has, not just rereading the style. Now we will understand what one use case. A use case is a customer facing copy where we draft a customer facing refund email, critique against tone, unverified claim, actual policy, and catches the overpromise on timing immediately. So my critic prompt is this: critic this draft email against professional tone, no unified claim amount, refund timing, and whatever we can have. And then policy is refund process in 5 to 7 business days, no guarantee on the same day. Now the draft is your refund will hit your account today. So this critic prompt will again see the policy, and then depending on the policy and everything, it will flag it, and then then basically return us the correct prompt. Here the same pattern works for extraction task loop: critic a draft JSON object against the schema before you accept it, and catches type mismatches before they hit your parser. Now we will understand when not to use it. We have seen now what are the use cases. So first is it costs 2 to 3x the calls, because a single prompt is in one call. Draft, critic, revise is minimum one call up to 3 call when it is splitted, as we seen in example 2. We should skip it for low stake work like internal work, right? A low stake summary, a single well formatted prompt is faster, and the extra review pass isn't worth the cost. Third is reserve it for real risk. So production code, customer facing copy, anything feeding a downstream system outputs where a wrong answer is genuinely expensive, that time we can use it. Now I will be showing you guys some example. So first example is, if we have no critic, then if I do write the refund calculation function for a partial refund and click on ask Claude, what it will do is, as there is no critic step, it will return me a function which looks correct at a glance, but it will return a negative refund on partial return. But if we add the critic step, what will happen is, it will do a draft and then critic and then do a revised return. So this shows draft, critic and revise. Now moving to split into calls, if I have same context and I ask that critic this refund function against the checklist. So I click on ask Claude, it says it looks solid, handles the common cases well, minor is consider adding input validation. So Claude is reviewing the code it just wrote in the same conversation, inclined to defend it on its first draft. Now if I do a fresh context critic, it basically forgets that it has only written the code and critiques it as a separate context. So here it says that in line 2 originally is negative whenever quantity is less than this. So basically it produces a negative refund. So it can catch basically the error it has done in the first call. Now in the customer copy critic, I will show no policy check example. So draft is your refund will hit your account today, and it will say that it looks professional and assuring, approving as is. But if I have a policy check, then it will check against our policy and it will say that it has failed the policy check, because policy state refund processes in 5 to 7 business days. So revised is your refund has been processed and will be appear in your account within 5 to 7 business days. So in this case policy check has helped the company to correct its email. Now cost trade off is, if it is always self correct, then summarize this internal Slack thread in 2 sentences. If I do this, and this is the draft and critic is tone okay, length okay, accuracy okay, revise is unchanged. I do ask Claude and it gives me that only, because always self correcting, 3 calls spent reviewing a low stake internal summary, that was already fine. So this is cost without benefit. But if I match text to cost, in this case if I ask Claude, it will give me the summary, the team resolved the deployment issue by rolling back the last release, whatever I have written in the draft, it will give that summary. It matches take to cost because it is an internal summary and doesn't need a review pass. So it doesn't need a critic and revise and 3 cost